regarding the first question, we don't think that the company had any long-term strategic plans.
What about short term?
When it comes to business strategy, short-term plans, they were fighting on the basis of price, reverse engineering, wait and watch policy. As and when products come, try to analyze the products, find out what the market wants, accordingly flexibility regarding that. Sometimes quality image and a very strong R&D.
Anyone wants to respond to this? He says they did not have any long-term strategic plan. Did he follow any business strategy?
Yes, I told yes. They had a business strategy, short term. Price wars, reverse engineering, wait and watch policy, some kind of quality image, strong R&D focus.
Any other question? Yes?
So during his presentation he said that they are not into niche market. So can you explain?
Did you say that?
So, I want to read out the sentence from the case. All along, he identified small niche markets where the profits were very high and the competition weak.
Okay.
Point
How
is
do you
that
that?
different niche market adds together to the general market. No. They have a diversified portfolio, but that doesn't mean they are not attacking niche markets. They are catering different products, but the products are niche
They
markets.
identified some niche markets. That's for sure.
It did not have a general market, it was specialty chemicals.
The products were for
They were supplying solvents to textile, to paint, to agriculture.
but the customers were very few.
Niche market does not mean it does not mean you should not be diversified. Again, a niche market in different areas. With all these
Niche market is out of the total market. You're taking a
Products
very
is
small percent
diversified.
focusing on it.
These are the industries which are using solvents. But the customers are
No, I think the explanation here is a textile mill may be using 200 types of solvents, but he is not going to a market for textile solvents. What he is doing within textile, he is selecting 2 or 3 which are near his area of expertise and just focusing on those. Hence, it is a niche. Similarly, rubber, there may be 500 types of chemicals used in rubber, but he is not addressing all of them. Whereas there would be other companies who would have out of 500 at least 200-300 product portfolio for that market. They are not niche players. That is what it probably means. Yes, yes?
Sir, one of possible threats is backward integration by someone else.
Yeah.
Given the kind of scale of operation, he has a total size of only 250 lakhs.
Yeah.
Possibly from
Investment is only 50 lakhs.
in the investment is only 50 lakhs. When backward integration, no, in the sense that
No, let him answer. He is making a point. Let's hear the point.
in terms of backward integration, probably one customer, probably not even buying, say, even the biggest customer may be buying just 50 lakhs or 40 lakhs worth of, given the small cost of the raw material that he's buying, does it make sense to backward integrate just so
But
that?
there is a low entry barrier. And you can always,
Agreed. I'm not
if
saying-
the extra production is there, you can sell it to somebody else.
I'm not saying that there is a low entry.
there is always a chance of backward
There
integration.
is always a chance, if there is a low entry barrier, it's not losing anything.
There would have been a chance of backward
Gentlemen,
integration.
he is
We are
giving the framework of practicality. What he says, backward integration, he is saying, is when you are dealing in large volumes and you backwardly integrate for 2 reasons. One is costs. Okay. Second is threat of not getting that raw material. All right.
backward integration means using by chemical industry. The raw material comes from big firms like ONGC and NBCL, and you cannot get into these industries.
No.
You cannot
Somebody is taking our
Okay, there was
It's a threat, sir.
you
They
said
can or
that
they may or may not.
the parties could go for integration.
Everyone is talking together. Let us go one by one.
During the presentation, he said Dr. Buddies could go for integration. How do you justify that on the basis of an investment of 50 lakh.
I can't justify because I didn't say so.
All right. Let this not degenerate
I
into
say
a.
that there is a
Let's have a
indication
let's
by
have a
company which is
reasoned
already
debate,
supplying to Dr. Butties.
not an argument.
Instead of Dr. Butties, that company is going to forward integrate and produce the thing.
Okay, would you like to hear my views? I would agree saying that in a scale of operations which you are looking at, see, any case that you discuss has to be within the framework of reality. It's a very small outfit, you know, very small outfit today. One moment, let us hear Sharma.
Dr. Butties might just be producing 2 or 3 of the solvents and probably working only on a niche market. But the industry which will decide to backward integrate will not be working on that niche market. It will be satisfying its needs, which might be a lot of other solvents. That might justify its backward integration. And we have an input from
that
person who has this
that is being
industry.
taken over by someone else.
His particular industry was thinking on those lines. That's why we mentioned this point.
Alright. Shall we stop here and go on to the next? We have a time constraint. Alright? You have, but then make it short because we have a time constraint.
Going to diversifying into drug and pharma businesses.
Does this company has synergies with drugs and pharmaceuticals? We'll go into that. It will be a good idea to.
There was concern in R&D.
He doesn't have any expertise. Dr. Buddy has no expertise in drugs. Then he'll have to tie up with Dr. Reddy, a joint venture. Alright?
But he was into chemicals too.
I know, but don't you see, chemicals, there are hundreds of thousands of chemicals.
But he is not going to produce the drugs as such. But he will be supplying that. Some
But he is master of reverse engineering. He can make anything.
He can't make anything, he has his area of expertise, within that he operates.
No, because somebody can make everything.
If we go by this logic, nobody will be able to diversify. But there are so many companies which diversify.
But we have to take technicalities into
He has a point.
Integration by the main point, not means new market and new product.
There's no, you said there's no.
I told you such a thing. I didn't say that it's possible.
We stop now because of time. Give me the, give, right. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Chalo. Who is next? Come. Now you have your chance. He is here now. Take notes. All right? Have you noted the time? I'm going to be pretty ruthless now about the time. You have 10 minutes. So exactly at 35 past, you stop. Okay? All right. Start. Good afternoon. All right. Let's pay attention here, please.
This is the fifth group. I would like to highlight a certain points first. I mean, these have been mentioned by other people,
But I just wanted to highlight them because they will have an implication in the things we propose. First thing is, Dr. Reddy going for supply contract, the fee fixed process. He was not taking any risk, and it had a fixed rate specified, and it was a long-term contract of over 5 years. Second is, he has an in-house R&D. May not be a full-fledged R&D, but he was innovating in-house. Thirdly, as mentioned in the case, he identified niche markets with high profits and minimal competition. He had a close collaboration with end users. So since he identified with end users in specific pockets, he catered to their needs, he had a collaboration with them and provided them with solutions. He had a very flexible product line. His scale of operation was small. He had an emphasis on quality, and he was ready to move out of a particular market once the profit margin started dwindling. So whenever new players or local small players came in, he was ready to move out of the market. He had a pretty good relationship with his dealers. I mean, since his clients were distributed all over the country, he had to have a good network and he had to cater to those clients. There are certain issues I want to mention and need to be clarified. First thing is the second second last paragraph talks about the unit capacity. It talks about a single unit which he had, and the capacity was constant from the time it was set up. Did not increase any capacity. Now we have sales figures which show an increase from 11 lakhs to somewhere around 250 lakhs. I don't know where those figures come from, considering the capacity of the unit which is constant. Now one thing could happen is, since he is in the solvent industry, this raw material gets in, and the process he does on the raw material is not known. It could be different for different solvents. So there is a case wherein his focus is shifting towards just a trader, when he is getting in something and selling out without any processing. It could happen. I don't know what is happening over there. And if he gets into this kind of trading, then he's going to lose the thing he built on. That's innovation and the quality. He just becomes a trader. Now, in the particular industry, we know that it's a specialty chemical industry wherein big players normally don't venture because they don't have the scale of, it's a very small scale of operation. So, we don't have that much of a threat of backward integration by these big players because they won't find it profitable to cater to such a small industry. But for Dr. Bedi, he cannot remain in this particular size. He has to increase because as such the size does not matter per se. But then this is an industry where innovation counts. I mean, your success is determined by how much you can innovate. And to have this innovation, one has to have size. One has to have the necessary funds to innovate.
Really? Anyway, we'll discuss that later.
The second issue, it's not the case actually, but the time in the 80s, I mean, for a chemical industry, there was no environmental constraint.
One moment. What is it?
So it's group 5.
Group 5. Yeah. Please continue.
So what we would basically propose for the company is to strive for growth. We understand that it cannot go for all-out growth. In a sense, it cannot go for mass market. It has to remain in those niche markets, but it has to increase its capacity. I mean, we believe it's only the long-term, it's only the growth which can give you long-term profitability. Right now, what he is pursuing is only short-term profitability. Wherever he sees a market with a high profitability market, he enters it and he gets the profits. But he doesn't have a long-term, he has not identified a long-term market where he is going to remain there or he is going to sustain his position over there. He gets in, if the profits go down, he is ready to move out also. I mean, the new units could be started in different strategic locations. Right now, he has a person in Kochi and who looks after his network over there. I mean, because of the number of clients there. He could start up a unit there. I mean, he has only one unit in Ahmedabad right now. The second thing is, we feel he should sustain a continuous market presence. I mean, just because a small player has come into a particular market and the profitability has come down, he did not move out of it. I mean, if he gives a growth, he increases in size, he could definitely sustain his advantage. I mean, he has an advantage in giving innovative products. And he has a very good relationship with the customers. So he could definitely resist the competition by the small players. Yes, basically that is it. We would stress on growth for the company.
Okay. Alright, thank you. Any questions? You want my question?
His HR strategy, I mean, it looks, he's taking it very complacent. He has got good discipline when it comes to safety or work performance in the unit. But overall, there is no formalization. In a sense, the case which he mentioned, it looks good, it sounds good. But tomorrow, if the company grows up, will he be able to justify the action? Or will it not set a precedent where there might be so many problems which should be catered to? And environmental monitoring, I mean, there are two issues here. I mean, in the competitive environment, he has been good in the technical sense, wherein a new product comes up, he gives a proper control, he is on the lookout for these products, he works with engineers, he waits and see how the product is doing, he is ready to copy the product, it's very fine, but he doesn't have a long-term lookout on the environment. I mean, that could be an issue in the long term wherein the biological environment. in 80s, I believe the country regulations were not so strong regarding chemical industry. Tomorrow it may so happen that these regulations could change. At the same time, there is another issue of, international players coming into this industry because there are no regulations as strict as those countries. These are the issues he's not looking out for. Thank you, sir.
All right, wait a moment. Let's have a few questions. Yes.
I have a doubt. You said one of its strategy was move in and move out, as in when the market was, the demand was not there, it could move out easily out of the product, right? Now you're also talking about the growth. The company must grow. Do you think if the company grows in size, will it be able to maintain its this business strategy as in move in and move out?
So point I said was the strategy is to move in and move out. I want you to change into growth wherein I said I want him to sustain his position. I want him to fight like with his local players wherein he is in a position. Because compared to them he is a bigger player. He can innovate, he has a technical expertise. I want him to stay there. What he is presently doing is moving in and moving out.
Yes.
Siddharth,
But
I have an add-on with this question.
Speak louder, others can't hear you.
There is nothing given about the capacity utilization of this company in the case. So you said that they should increase their capacity. On what basis you propose it?
Basically, the capacity, it has been said that since 74 to 89 there has been no capacity increase. The sales figures have increased from 11 lakhs to 250 lakhs.
At the same time, you also mentioned it could be through trading or other.
It could be, that's what. And I don't want it to be trading because that is defeating his major competence, that is innovation and quality. If he gets into trading, he won't have any innovation,
But there's
obviously.
nothing you mentioned.
Anyway, the moot,
Capacity utilization.
gentlemen, the moot point here is, he is saying that how come he increased his sales turnover
By such a large figure.
without increasing his capacity? So what is the answer to that? So his conclusion is that he's gone for trading. Do you agree with that conclusion? Anyone chemical engineer here?
Sir,
You are. As a chemical engineer, what is your reaction?
not necessarily because what he's doing is he's also making faster product lines. So earlier his capacity utilization is low. Now because his number of lines are more, so he's making one product for one.
I think that is a likely explanation. He has made a one-time investment. He has built in capacity. Now he is trying to fill the capacity slowly.
Sir, total asset is given as a historical cost.
Yeah?
I had a doubt, not specific to this group.
Ah.
He has a very dynamic product line. He is changing his product quite frequently. But he is entering long-term contracts and making commitments for a particular raw material. Won't that be a disadvantage? Because he has a commitment for a particular raw material.
Why? I think the answer lies, why is he changing frequently?
Because the market is
No,
margins
be
are
specific.
compressed.
Why? Say, because the profits are coming down. However, he is a profit-driven company. If he can get a client who is willing to sign a long-term contract,
Long-term contract is the raw material side, sir.
The raw material is same for all the products. That's
because again it's profit orientation. If raw material he can tie them down to a fixed price over a 5-year period, then he is saving on costs and increasing profit. That's the reason.
So there's also a line because
Yes, there is a.
if his purchasers want his products for long term, then he makes long term plans for production in quantities. So accordingly he signs with his suppliers as well for long term.
He is highly flexible, as I see. He is highly flexible. His main aim is to make money, essentially. I can't fault that, but then maybe he is missing out on continuing succession, building an institution. He is making money, hand over fist. Whatever helps him to make money, he is doing that. That's his motivation.
Most of the teams they talked about this innovation. So what is the role of his innovation? Because it's a chemical product, chemical solvent. It is actually you can see he has identified some segments which require some specialized products and some specialized formula for making the product. Over and above that, what is the role of innovation? We cannot say only innovation has a very high role and it requires very high cost. Because he has gone into those products.
Innovation is doing things creatively. He is in a market which is a very boring market. It deals with chemicals, solvents, so on and so forth. His innovation, I think, is recognizing that substitutes can be made very quickly from established solvents which are of equal quality and where he can do it with his own knowledge. That's the innovation.
No, does it happen in chemical industry very fast? Like compared to industries like software, where the products change very fast.
No.
Most of the raw materials to chemical.
It doesn't, hence the innovation. If this happened in a software, we say it's not innovation, it's run of the mill. Everything is happening. But in this industry, he is using his knowledge, he is really leveraging his knowledge in an innovative way to make money. He is not reinventing the wheel, mind you. Someone is using some solvent. Yeah, and anyone who is making solvent, remember it says there in the case, he gets samples of that straight away. He analyzes that sample and sees what is the cost, whether with the same quality which this sample is giving a competitor, he can make a lower cost and then try it out on a client. So he does two things. One is his client relationship, and also therefore his channel relationship is very good. He is very responsive to market changes and is innovating in pursuing his line of, all right, in my solvent line, let's see if I can oust some competitor by making a substitute. Who is the next group? Ronnie, come. How did I know you are the next group? Group 3.
So once it grows in size, will it still be possible for him to maintain a strategy that is so much fighting on the changing?
No, answer is no. Right now I have a feeling he just has 1 or 2 lab assistants. Okay, basically he does it himself. Maybe he has one chemist, maybe, because he is traveling a lot. He is doing the customer part of it, so he is traveling a lot, so he can't be all the time there. But it's a very small show, very small show. Okay. Now we have group 3. All right, group 3 is 5:15. You have till 5:25. All right, start. Please pay attention.
Hi friends.
Hi.
This is group 3. We have also actually analyzed based on the Porter's model. But then since most of you have outlined all the important points, I'll just say some of the points which I feel the groups have not touched enough. Okay, as say barriers to entry, that you can say that he did a good brand building exercise when he had gone down to the rubber board in Kottayam, and he spent about 3 years in research there, and later he kept on sending samples to the board members, and as a result of this they found it really good and they recommended this sample to other end users. So there he has built a good brand identity. Now on the expected retaliation front, it's said that he got his profits
Speak
by
into that mic, otherwise it won't be recorded.
He made profits by charging a high price because his quality was quite high. But still, a particular case has been mentioned when he actually went into a price war. He reduced the price by a small amount so that the competition was warded off. So I feel it must have been one single product on which he did this, and he must have got the profit. He must have got enough and more profits on all other product lines so that he could go into a price war on some product where the threat of substitute or any other player is quite high. Now, on the competition within the industry, how we can survive. He has managed to reduce the cost of inputs. A specific situation is given where he went for the reuse of oil barrels for packaging. So this must also have been a cost-cutting measure which helped him to get good profit margins. Now, on the determinants of supplier and buyer part, other teams have mentioned that he entered into long-term contracts at prefixed prices, so it's hedge against price fluctuations and all that. And I location advantage because he was situated in a place where there were lots of petrochemical industries. So I don't think the threat or the bargaining power of the suppliers was quite high. Okay, that is on the Porter's model. Now, I would like to call this company as a strategically aligned one. It is strategically aligned. Excuse me. Okay, you can put it in these words, like it's strategically aligned with the end customers through dealers and also with the suppliers through long-term contracts. Now let's see how the strategic alignment he has tried to implement. Like based on what just a few moments ago we had seen, he brought about good coordination internally and externally. The internal coordination among the employees. It must have been through, it's specifically mentioned that he enforced discipline among the employees. Now on the external side, he had a good network of dealers and tied up suppliers. Now on the incentives part, internal to the organization, he was very sensitive to the requirements of the employees. He used to give them good perks, provident funds, then on the whole you can say the employee relations was maintained in a good manner. Then on the external side, he decided to sell only through dealers. He didn't undertake any direct selling. Now he's not undercutting on the margins of the dealers. So this will help him have a goodwill with the dealers. Now the decision type, it was a decentralized one at both the research and the operational levels, because in an R&D driven company, you always need decentralization. They should be given the freedom to come up with new innovative products. Okay, now we have learned in organization structure and dynamics that this R&D organizations which are focused on R&D, they should have a learning and flexible organization. The learning culture should be a flexible one, because the environment is highly complex and uncertain. They should be highly adaptable to the changes in the environment. Then, okay, I would just like to summarize the strategic plans which I feel they should still sustain. He's been conducting a good lot of marketing research. He should go on with it to identify what the customer wants and new niche markets. Then he has said he'll go in for high production better or more production quantity in the long term. As he finds more and more new markets, I think he should go ahead with it. He should also sustain the good labor relations, because chemical industry is one where I think the union problems can be quite high if you don't have good employee relations. Then his no credit policy, I think he can go ahead with it. Then dealership network is good, as some of the group had already pointed out. There won't be any hidden cost for him in case he deals with the customers directly. Then I think he should develop long-term plans in the direction that he'll be able to sustain with lower prices. Because I think there is a threat of big players coming into the industry. For example, here you have a single buyer, like a big chunk of their one single product that is procured by Reliance, that is said that they are taking 70,000 tons per month. So there's a threat of backward integration. He has to be on the watch for that. And also he should be aware of any possible chances of opening up of markets in the international front. And another thing is on the supply side, he's depending solely on the oil sector. Now if the oil sector industry faces any downturn, and he should take care, he should foresee some measures so that he is not affected because of his dependency on a single supply side. Then, okay, he must go for patents. Some group has already put that. Then I think in the long run, he should also be conscious of the environmental pollution concerns in the chemical industry. So this is basically.
Okay, we have two questions here. Two questions. What competitive advantage did Dr. Buddy seek? Did he seek any competitive advantage?
Yes.
What?
He targeted niche markets.
Is that a competitive advantage, niche market? Okay, assuming it is competitive advantage, what is that advantage in a niche market?
They make high profits.
You can make high profits.
The competition will be less.
Competition is less. Okay. Any other competitive advantage you saw?
Any other good product portfolio
The
mix?
main competitive advantage is R&D.
I think so.
R&D and
focus.
Ability to identify the problem.
Yeah, because of
Ability to identify
makes you to withdraw any product which is not profitable enough. So diversification must have been one of the competitive advantages.
Yes.
So the prime competitive advantage that Dr. Buddy's company had was, in terms of the product that he makes, he had a flexible product mix which could be suited to the customer's requirements. Apart from that, he had a very good relation with the customer, and he kept tabs with the customer, both directly and through the dealer network. So that was which identified his product as something unique and which had a technical expertise backup. So it could be charged at high price.
So basically, what he is saying is the main competitive advantage was customer friendliness, which embodies a lot of things. Customer friendliness means, what does customer want? You're friendly with him. You want low price, right? So you give what customer perceives as a low price, although his profit in it may be high. Customer wants good deliveries, fast, he gives it. Customer wants some change in the product, he says, yes sir, I will give you the change. Okay? Whatever customer wants, he gives. That is his main competitive advantage, which is competitors can't do. Is that acceptable?
Yes. That was not always the case. With Asian Paints, it didn't go there. We didn't even manage to get those figures of 5. Yes, it was. His customer relationship was one of his very important.
But with Asian Paints, it didn't happen. What happened with the Asian Paints?
Pricing. We have always saying he had a flexible pricing. Customer is indeed.
That's the point. With Asian Paint, it didn't happen.
He has flexible pricing, but he also has a policy that he will charge the same price to all customers.
Yeah.
In the case of IOC, he is reducing.
I think that's a very important point, because that is a policy point. All customers, same price.
All customers.
So there is one
It can be a competitive disadvantage.
Yes.
not allow credit sales. I think it's a major disadvantage.
It's a matter of opinion. I think it's a terrific advantage. My working capital is very, very low.
Okay, but
I have no problems of outstanding, accounts receivable.
he's a rather small player in the market. Any player, even medium
That is the reason, Rajesh. If you are a small player, your capacity is low. You don't have a hungry factory which you have to fill, Every week you have to give huge orders. Otherwise the capacity, in his case, it's a small capacity. He can pick and choose. Yes?
I don't think the credit policy depends on size. There was a company which came here, Heinz India Limited. They don't have a credit policy in India. They have cash and carry only. So it does not matter about size. Such a big company also has a cash only policy. So I don't think, he's saying that cash is because he's small. I don't think it depends on size.
Anyone wants to react to that? He's made a good point. He says Heinz, which is 500 crore, 600 crore.
Yes.
They don't have it.
Heinz has got a very good financial backing, so they can sustain their operation. If I don't have that financial backing, I require the money.
They also They also mentioned that they did not get any financial support.
If you have financial backing, you can give extended credits and still survive.
Sir, it depends.
If you don't have financial backing, that's my argument to you.
Sir,
You can't give credit.
Sir, it depends on the reputation of the factory as well. See, HLL.
It depends on brand equity, he says. Huh?
Yes, sir.
That means people are willing to come, pay you cash, and take your product, and your sales keep rising.
but he might be losing some customers also because of this.
Why?
That is not
He
necessary.
has to cut in.
You have to see his growth rate. After all, loss of customer has to be in practical terms. Say you have a capacity where you can sell up to 500 crore with your product portfolio. The fact that you cannot sell to 1000 or 1500 is a notional thing. I can argue that way, isn't it? Because if you want that 1000, you have to increase your capacity. If you want to increase your capacity, you have to make the investment. Moment you make investment, you will have costs interest depreciation burden will come. You may have to take loans, interest is there. So it's combined.
So if he's selling it on cash, he has to cut his price. Because as a buyer, I will ask for the consultation.
It depends. If it's a full product, you're not pushing your product.
Okay. No, if it is a commodity, then
What if it's a product which is so desirable that people are lining up to get your product?
the case I mentioned, it's a commodity and different suppliers are there. That in that case, the supplier has got the clout to ask for the interest of pay for the service. It will always ask to cut its cost.
I'm not so sure whether it's a commodity. It's a specialty chemical. Would you agree it's a commodity? No, they don't agree. How do you define a commodity and a specialty chemical? Is it a commodity?
No, sir. There are five products. The quality percentage.
What is a commodity? What is a commodity? Name one commodity.
Sugar.
Rice. Would you say basmati rice is a commodity?
Unless it is. Yes, sir.
Yes.
If it is not branded, then branded.
So,
If there is only one molecule.
you have not learnt about this in your marketing class? What is a commodity and what is not? Tell me, what defines a commodity? You cannot differentiate between the sellers, the suppliers, right? But can you make a commodity into a branded product? Soap, salt. So you can do it by marketing. Now this is a specialty chemical. Would you agree that this is a commodity? No?
Not something that others can't do. The customer can go to any one of the suppliers. He can go to any one of the 10 suppliers and get the product.
I can always play one supplier against other to get the product.
There are no other suppliers.
See the point you're making, playing one against the other can happen whether it's a commodity or whether it is a non-commodity. That is skillful buying.
What I mean to say, he is a small player, he is producing in small volume. He is not fulfilling the capacity of the entire textile industry. Yes, sir. Now there are 1,000 other players who are also producing the drawing agent. Now they can meet it.
I don't think there are 1,000 players anyway.
I'm not saying
Even in Baroda, there are numbers of
How come he is making so much money then? How is he making so much money? He is so small, there are thousands of players, still he makes money. How? Huh? No, I don't think that's correct. It may be a huge industry. It doesn't mean to. Let's have a little attention. Come.
In the beginning of the discussion, told about that the person buying very good time to identify the brand and make the signage. I think that he identified the product market by going to the brand identification means packaging, advertising, promotion, logo, these things he hasn't done.
I don't think that's the point. The point she made is he put caching on an opportunity. We all go and visit so many people. You know, casually someone mentioned that from the rubber tree, can you make a chemical? He saw in it an opportunity which many would not have seen. That's the main.
Just disputing the word. We try to get an identity, there is something.
And he had the persistence. I think that was a very, very good thing that he did. He opened up that market. You know, he made business where no business was there. That's called business development. I put down somewhere. There are often companies who hire you, MBAs, to do business development. This is exactly a fine example where isn't any business, but you develop that business. You see an opportunity. I think we stop here. We thank you very much. Don't keep it on. Keep it on, yeah. Next. Next, please. Who is next? Group 4. Come. All right. You have till 5:40.
Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
I'll start with the SWOT analysis for Buddy. The strengths were its good R&D capacity, as has been illustrated by all of us. Its employer relationship was very good. It had very good distribution network among all the dealers. It has been mentioned in the case that it had distributors all over India. It has a monopoly of sorts in certain niche markets, like rubber coats, sprays. It enjoys very good profit margins in photographic solvents. That's an example. So it must be having very good power in them. Good plant location is another. Flexible product mix. It's able to change its product mix depending on the requirements of the customer. It has very low inventories, efficient logistics. It has been stated an example for the rubber spray case where it was his ingenuity which led him to circumvent the distribution problem for the rubber spray. Very low inventories helps always. No credit policy. High switching costs. It has been mentioned in the case that customers were reluctant to change to new solvents. This was because probably the solvent should exactly match the requirements of the customer. I'll go to the weakness. The main weakness is this company is an intermediate sort of a company. It derives the demand from the demand of the final product. I think no one has illustrated this point. The main weakness comes from this point that even if you have very good capacity, the final product, if it's not doing well, it's very difficult for you to expand. It cannot move up or down the value chain. It's very difficult up the value chain, horizontal, vertical integration upwards, forwards. It's very difficult. Very huge players, similar with the backward integration. The biggest disadvantage I'll say is the new products can easily come and replicate his initial first mover advantage. That is, the first mover advantage is not very sustainable. Opportunities, he can leverage his R&D capacities to enter any related markets. Threats, there's an always threat of replication, as has been mentioned in the case. Small players come in always. There's a chance of backward integration by big buyers. I will illustrate it like this. He might be operating in a very small market, but the player might be looking for a complete product, one-shop stop for all his solvent requirements. And he might also produce this solvent as a part of all the solution range. There's always a threat of forward integration by big market players, as was illustrated in IOC case. The Porter's 5 forces model for this industry will be something like this. There is the industry rivalry stems mainly from very numerous number of small players who are there. These might not directly implicate today, but tomorrow they can grow and come into your niche market. But a good point for this is the high switching cost that I mentioned earlier. People are reluctant to switch from one solvent to other. The entry barriers are you have a goodwill of the customers. It's very difficult. I mean, it's a sustainable advantage. Even if your innovation capacity, even if your product might be replicated, it's very difficult to replicate your customer advantage. Generally, a repeat buy is very easy if you are able to satisfy the customer. It is 10 times more difficult to make a new customer than it is to sell to a new customer. Then it's to sell to an existing customer. Sorry. Very good distribution networks, as has been illustrated. R&D capabilities are very good. Threat of substitutes. I believe there's a misperception on what a substitute is. Everyone says that another players can make substitutes. A solvent is not a substitute for a solvent. Another product might be a substitute for a solvent. a solvent will only be a rival to a solvent. So I would say that the threat of substitutes, given the case data, it's low. The bargaining power of supplier, there's always, as I said, the threat of forward integration, but he has locked them into future contracts, long-term contracts with the suppliers. So that might help in its raw material predictability, like availability of raw materials. The bargaining power of customers, again the threat of backward integration, but because of the high switching costs, he has an advantage. He has a monopoly of sorts in rubber solvents, so he can charge very high margin. So that way he has a very good bargaining power with rubber customers. Similar is the case with photographic solvents. I like to end by saying that he should concentrate more on his advantages, strong points that he has over the other players. Innovation. He should leverage on his R&D, which he has very good capacities. He should strive to find new markets. And most importantly, he should find these new markets in a systematic way by conducting market research. Right now, his business has been like through his gut feeling that there is a market for this product. We go and enter this market. It's like this. I think a better systematic way will not only reduce chances of failure, but will also reduce his efforts so that he can concentrate on more number of markets. I think I'll end my presentation like this. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Thank you. Before you go, I would like you to concentrate on answering these two questions.
There are numerous competitive advantages. I would say distribution and goodwill of the customers will be our main highlight of this thing. Distribution for the second will be distribution he maintained by having dealer networks all over India. Customer goodwill he had by providing advice to customers, even when a product is harmful. I mean, not exactly harmful. When a product overuse of a product might harm the customer, he gave advice which might seem contrary. So he put short-term gains in for future gains. In the mind of the customer, he used to call up customers almost every day. He had a pulse of the market. That way he could expand to new markets. That is, I'll say, how he has competitive advantage around him.
Okay, now any questions from the house? One by one. Let's start with someone. You ask number of questions. Who hasn't asked a question? We don't want it to be questioners and non-questioners. We don't want participate. You have asked. You have not asked. Yes. Tell me.
So the definition of a substitute in this case, like a solvent cannot be a substitute for another solvent.
Interesting. It's an interesting point. You want a clarification. Can you give an example of what could be a substitute? Which you consider substitute?
A substitute might be another product which might, a technology which might reduce the need for a drying agent.
So you cannot have a substitute for then a drying agent at all because the solvent has to be there.
I am saying a technology which is.
Can you give another example? Forget solvent. Or what can be considered, one moment, in your definition as a substitute?
Sir, I can give an example.
No, but you will come next. Let you get a first chance.
Okay. Jaggery is used as a substitute for sugar.
Yeah, they are two different products.
Alright.
Yeah, two different products.
Previously there were pesticides.
Yes.
For cotton plants.
Yeah.
Nowadays we have ball-ground resistant cotton plants. You don't require pesticides. That's a substitute.
I think we've been right on pointing out that substitute which all of us I think have understood.
That's what he said is correct.
So that process can change.
I would rather say
Don't need any
solvent. Finally, the function is a solvent.
You know, substitutes
They can be any different product.
are best illustrated in materials being totally substituted. The biggest example is, polymer substituting metals. That's the biggest example. In all products, all the plastic products you see today, not a single product was in plastic 40 years ago. Not one. Paper, is substituting, right, a lot of other material like glass. In the you have to have, you used to use for our utensils, cooking utensils, etc. brass.
Carbon fibers removing,
Right.
carbon fiber rackets,
Exactly.
wooden rackets.
Alright. Now we've discussed enough. Any other questions?
So
One moment. Anyone who hasn't participated, here is your chance. You have not participated. Tell me.
So the speaker said there are a number of competitive advantages. How can you have a number of competitive advantages? There is only
That
one.
doubt didn't rise in my mind, but what is the ideal number of competitive advantage? How many would you like? 5, 4? I think one should focus. Alright?
There will be only one competitor.
There will be lots of competitive advantages, but
It's
there
like
will
if
be
you
one
are
competitive
talking about the
focus.
symptoms and not the
I
cause.
think what he means is you will have a lot of strengths which you will leverage into one competitive advantage. Usually. Any other question?
Sir.
Don't get up yet. Class is not dismissed. Last what? You will find it when the lights are on. Yeah.
So about the substitutes issue, a substitute for the solvent could be another process like infrared treatment for drying.
Absolutely correct.
Or some powder.
That means, yes, you don't require to dissolve anything in the solvent. We have a totally new way of doing it. That would be a real substitute. And these are usually paradigm shifts which you have in your business. Underpinnings of your business, suddenly like a carpet you are standing on, someone pulls the carpet. What happens? Just fall flat. Finished. So you have to do environmental scanning all the time. See that doesn't happen today. Alright? And on this somber note, shall I say, we close today's class. Alright? Thank you very much.